Start your engines. Let's go.
Astros money line versus the Marlins. Johnny Cueto, no thank you.
Was going to just fire the under no matter what.
Under. Oh, you're cruel. Cruel.
What do you mean? In those shoes? He's going to roll something in the first month in those shoes.
Yeah, it's not. Like, oh, cool, he's on the court. But I don't think anybody's expecting him to be back very long.
It's bad. That's where it's bad. When people are excited that he's practicing and playing in preseason games.
Do they make numbers on that? I've never seen that on a specific player. Games played.
Nope. They don't.
Maybe you could find somebody that would put a number. I can't imagine it would be very high. All right. World Series. Yankees, Dodgers. So last year we had some surprises. Just first off, the idea, and I think, how could we escape the betting angles here? Are you more or less excited because it's Yankees, Dodgers? It's the teams with the pedigree, the history. It's Lakers, Celtics. They also met 12 times for the title. And now this is going to be the 12th meeting of the Dodgers and the Yankees, most of those way before any of us were alive. But are you in? I mean, these were quality regular season / great regular season teams. It's the 1 seed in the AL, 1 seed in the NL, as opposed to last year when you have long shots coming in. You've got the Texas Rangers getting it done at a price of 50-1. Always short numbers all season long on the Yankees and the Dodgers. So you more into it or less into it with the star power here?
Much more into it than last year with Texas and Arizona. I'm sorry, call me a classic baseball fan, but this is what I want, the two best teams. And these are the two best teams, and we're the two best teams for the most part all season long. You are so right. This is a big matchup over the history of the league, but the first meeting in the World Series since 1981. You and I were not born in 1981. 78, 77, 63, 56, 55, 53, 52, 49, 47, 41. Those were all the World Series between the two teams. I was a little surprised that some of these books opened higher. A couple people opened Dodgers minus 140. It has come down a bit. Your average price now about minus 130. That's the market. MGM, Dodgers minus 130, Yankees plus 110. You have the star power. I mean, who can't wait to watch Garrett Cole pitch against Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani? I'm ready to go. I hope we can find the game on television most nights. I hope that the games aren't on at 5 o'clock Eastern, like we saw some of the NLCS games. I'm obviously kidding. Yeah, it was very dumb. Very dumb. And then one of the games was on a Saturday. Was this the Tigers and Guardians game? The final game, the 5th game, elimination game on a Saturday or a Sunday? I can't remember. And no, it was Saturday. And the game was on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, what? Anyways, I know you're going to fire a series and how many games bet. Are we taking 6? Are we taking 7? What are we doing there? We have numbers on all these options. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Where are we going?
Okay, so to answer your question about the TV, every game will be on Fox. Okay? So I know you're happy there. I think it actually is a legitimate frustration because I found myself in the last couple of weeks, late afternoon, with my schedule. What am I doing? I'm usually running errands, running the kids somewhere to this or that. Late afternoon, early evening. I could not find the championship series on the radio anywhere. In the third largest market, nobody's carrying the games. It was quite frustrating. It got to a point where I finally realized, I looked up the ESPN app and then I could get it there on an extreme delay and plugged my phone into the car. But you shouldn't have to work that hard to find an ALCS or an NLCS game on the radio. But I found it. But yeah, I know. Paul mentioned the local ESPN station here in Chicago. He figured that they would carry it, and they weren't carrying it most of the time, except for like late at night. If I was in the car, then they would carry it. But afternoon, early evening, nope. They were carrying the sports yackers, talking the same thing about the Bears on a bye week. Like, okay, it's been said for the last 15 hours, the same stuff. But yeah, no, I was frustrated with that. But you think, why are they doing that? Because it probably doesn't rate. But now you've got Yankees Dodgers. So as a bettor, I actually was more into last year because you have prices. I'm never going to have a future on the Yankees or the Dodgers, especially not when they have the best records in their leagues. So that's why I was actually a little less interested, but I understand why everybody else is. You've got the MVP of each league participating, and we're going to have great matchups. So once it's here, I'll be excited. But yeah, I'm never going to have a bet on these teams, Yankees, Dodgers. But as you mentioned, there are other ways to bet this. With Jake, I'm sure this week we'll go over the World Series MVP stuff. We'll go over how many games and all that. I haven't taken a dive into those markets, but I expect it to be a longer series. Don't you?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would look at 6. 6 games feels like a nice number. No surprise, that's the favorite, plus 195. Game 7 is 2-1. A sweep either way is 13-2. I don't think any team is going to get swept in this series. Feels like a 6-game series. I always tell this story, though, and this was the year that Paulie the Fish died for the Braves, so the Braves could win the World Series. And I thought, that was a really good bet. I had the Braves at 18-1, and then you just out of nowhere fired Soler, World Series MVP, and I'm like, he stole my thunder again. I've been posting about this fish for 6 weeks, and Joe just fires the World Series MVP. just fires 100-1 dart. I cash the ticket. Paulie is celebrating in fish heaven, but Joe has the 100-1 World Series MVP. That is a long way around me asking you, what are we betting for World Series MVP?
Yeah, that was 40. I wish it was 100.
I thought it was 100.
Yeah, I mean, 40 was still nice. It was still pretty good.
40's better than 18.
Show bet. Yeah. I'm not
no
sure
pressure. It is Monday.
Yeah.
We have
on Monday. I'm not sure
time.
yet. We're going to go over all of these. We're going to go over series prices, games played, World Series MVPs, all the different ways that you can bet this. I'm sure there will be hit leader in the series, all sorts of stuff like that.
They have all that up right now. Player to have the most steals at MGM, player to have the most hits, player to have the most home runs. Aaron Judge 275. I don't have it yet. I'm thinking about a guy like Jazz Chisholm at 60-1. I know some people will say, "Oh, look at the pitcher at the high price." I wouldn't be I'll speak for myself. I wouldn't be betting a pitcher to win World Series MVP. I would look at hitters, and I would go to at least 20-1 or higher. Freddie Freeman is 25. Enrique Hernandez is very, very good in moments like these. 30-1 for him. Jazz Chisholm 60. Will Smith 60. Anthony Rizzo 125. But he's so far down the order now. That's a number that I like, not a player. Jazz Chisholm, I don't know why I'm being pulled toward him. It's 60-1. It's a weird magnetic pull on Jazz Chisholm. I have this weird feeling he's going to have a big series.
Did you see which player they gave the NLCS MVP to?
No.
Tommy Edman.
He won the NLCS MVP, really?
Yeah, he hit 407, 11 hits, 11 RBI, 1023 OPS. So that had to be a good number. So if you're thinking all these stars in here, there's no way they go somewhere else. Think about all the stars on the Dodgers. And then they give it to Edman. They give it to Stanton for the ALCS, which makes perfect sense. The guy was on fire. Kept hitting all these big home runs throughout the series. Soler was hitting leadoff at the time, using that one as an example. But for World Series MVPs, we're going to hunt for some value in this market because you have all these superstars, so all these odds are truly not fair. I think we're getting extra value with some of those guys down the board, and you're going to see it. We've seen it in the past, and like Soler was not the ultimate outlier, 2022 Astros, Jeremy Pena after Soler. We had, you've mentioned it, Steve Pearce in 2018 of the Boston Red Sox. Remember him? He hit 3 home runs in that World Series. Ben Zobrist with the Cubs. He's a good player, but he wasn't Bryant. He wasn't Schwarber or one of the starting pitchers, but he ends up breaking through. So you can do that. You can do that where you can find a guy down the board. Who's the last pitcher? Was it Strasburg? I think it was Strasburg.
Did he win it that year? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, he did win it. Yeah, I'm looking at the list here. It was Strasburg in 2019. Before that, it was Mad Bum in 2014. He came in 3 games. Yes, I remember that. And Strasburg was so dominant, and he had all the hype around him. So I'm sure that was part of it. It's like every 5 years or so, you might find a pitcher. So if you're thinking, maybe you can find a pitcher this year, but that's how we bet this award. We're going to be looking for some value. I think Jazz is a good look. And he's got the popularity, and if he has those big moments, people are going to remember it. So that makes sense to me. And what number did you find?
Well, 60 to 1 at MGM. I haven't really done the homework on it yet. I'm just looking at one market. Obviously, there's going to be a range on some of these guys. I mean, you might find take a guy like Gleyber Torres. He's 40 to 1 at MGM. There's probably a 30 to 1 and a 50 to 1 in the market. We'll discuss this throughout the week. We have ample time, as I've learned today. The World Series loses all the momentum and starts on Friday after a busy baseball week and weekend. Starts on Friday. Cole Hamels also won World Series MVP in 08. So those are the last few pitchers. Hamels in 08, Bumgarner in 14, and Strasburg in 2019.
No, but we're going to get on our high horse here. I'm glad you brought up Jazz and the number 60 to 1 that you see at MGM, because the first other book, as I was shopping that number that I pull up, I see Jazz at 35.
Yep. 60 is better than 35.
Nearly double the payout. So markets like this, it is worth your couple of minutes. Okay, let me check this book, that book, this book. Okay, make sure you find the best number. It is worth it. We're not talking about a few cents here. We're talking about doubling your payout. It is worth the time. So make sure that you end up doing that. But yeah, we're going to cover it every which way. So it's going to be a busy week. It is a damn shame you got to wait until Friday, because it's middle of the week. Perfect time for the World Series to be front and center.
You could own the week. You could own the entire week. If you started on Tuesday, you own Tuesday, Wednesday. You have the off day on Thursday, which the NFL already has anyway, and then you play game 3 on Friday. You own Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Baseball. Make things more complicated than they need to be. There were some huge injuries across the NFL yesterday that we need to go over. And maybe it's cluing us in on a few of these market moves that are happening right now. And there are also some key players that might be returning in week number 8. Let's talk about that on the other side. Joe Ostrowski, Sam Panayotovich. Make sure you're following BetQL Daily on X at BetQL Daily. And every day, if you're looking for us on the Odyssey app live, just go to BetQLNetwork.com, brings you to the Odyssey app, and then make sure you're following the BetQL Network. Always on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/BetQL. Vital NFL injuries on the other side here on the BetQL Network.
You're listening to BetQL Daily with Joe Ostrowski and Sam Panayotovich, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Ostrowski and Sam Paniotovich. Presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas.
It was good. If you missed it, friend of the network, Rob Pizzola, tweets yesterday, it's time for a serious subject. If you bet against Mahomes as a dog, you need to take a break. You got no mojo right now. If you're with your wife or your girlfriend, tell them there will be no sex tonight. You cannot perform. That was, if you missed it, to a T, exactly what GRP did in his video while he was trying to drag everyone for betting on the Cowboys against the Lions. And he was on the show last week talking about why it's so simple. You've got to take the 49ers against the Chiefs. So hilarious stuff from Rob. Sammy P here on BetQL Daily. Welcome back. Yeah, I mean, I a lot of times we complain about stuff going on in the sports betting space, but there are a lot more personalities, and you've got to be able to laugh at yourself. And there is some of that going on, like you're ribbing George, but he can take a joke because he's friends with the show. Like, I thought he was going to turn on you, but even during that game, he's like, man, you got to bet early. Just like Sammy P says on BetQL Daily, you got to bet early and get the best of the number. I feel great with my number.
I'm a big fan of George. You know that. We wouldn't put George on the show if we didn't think he was entertaining and a great character and somebody that, is unique in the space. If we put people on that sounded like me and you and we all just gargled each other for 3 hours, that would be the worst show in the space. I am very happy with our Rolodex of guests. For every person that is going to tell you, sharp information and let's go behind the sports book and get this counter, we got something on the other side of that. And it was funny, George's victory lap for Detroit Dallas was very funny, but it wasn't even us. I didn't say anything. The internet tends to internet, and the internet is generally undefeated.
So I'm not even talking about the internet. I'm just talking about the atmosphere. When you throw it out there like that, it's going to come back to you. And it came back to him the following Sunday in the biggest game of the week, which was beautiful, and it was entertaining. So you put out this intriguing tweet here at SB Shoot. Follow the show on X at BetQL Daily. You did a blind resume with 3 quarterbacks because the people are coming at you hard about this whole Mahomes thing, how we shouldn't be the favorite. And I agree with you. Well, before we get to the blind resume, let's put it out there where he should be. Where should Mahomes be? If he shouldn't be 1, which, by the way, after winning against San Francisco yesterday, he got better odds, meaning they didn't get shorter. They got a little bit longer. You can find him at plus 370. You couldn't find a plus 370 before his team beat the Niners. You could find plus 300. Now we're plus 370. He's still the favorite. Where should he be? Should he be top 3? Should he be top 5? What do you think?
So context often gets lost on social media because you only have so many characters. It's not that Mahomes shouldn't be favored. Let me be very clear about that. He's going to be favored because of the liability that's built up. And I have people with, all these accounts coming at me telling me, how do you host a betting show when you don't understand liability? Let's chill a little bit. Obviously, people are going to bet Mahomes. John Murray was on Chicken Dinner last week saying he's not the best player right now, but A, they're betting him, and B, we're never going to move him to 8, 9, 10 to 1, which is obvious.
Yes.
So you slot him on line 1, you let people bet him at 3, 4 to 1, and you don't grow any more liability. If you actually want to bet Patrick Mahomes at 3 to 1 or 4 to 1 to win the MVP, it's a dumb bet. It's a dumb bet. He might win. It's a dumb bet. I don't care. In the offseason, he's 7, 8 to 1. At 3 to 1, it's not a good bet, even though he might win the award, because we haven't seen his best football yet. And I'm not saying he can't win it. I'm saying he's not the most deserving right now because he's not the most valuable player in the league. And the common retort is 6-0, 6-0. Do you really think he's the reason they're 6-0 right now? Yeah, watch the games, nerd. I watched the games. He's been awful. He was awful for 2.5 quarters yesterday. And then what happens? He has the long touchdown run, and you see it all over. So there's the MVP. Brock Purdy had 3 interceptions in the game. Brock Purdy's failure yesterday is why the Chiefs won. Not because Mahomes went 20 of 22 for 300 yards. It's not, he's not the most valuable player. He's the best player in the league. He's the most dangerous player in the league. And of all the quarterbacks in the league, if I need to win one game, I pick him. But to think that he's the most valuable through the first 6-7 weeks is crazy to me. So there's a reason he's favored, because people are betting him and because the liability is already there. But what this does is gives you a chance to bet other players at better prices. You can bet Jared Goff. You can bet Lamar Jackson. You can bet Josh Allen based off of this infatuation with Mahomes being the MVP, and he has more interceptions than touchdowns.
Okay, so let's do this blind resume, but let's go in reverse order. Start with C, then B, then we'll go to A, because I think B and C are more obvious. And myself and Paul, you could jump on. We might be able to get that one. But the one in question that I think I know who it is A. So go ahead. Blind resume test through week 7, almost all the way through week 7. What do you have here at numbers at letter C?
Letter C. 15 touchdowns total, combined touchdowns. 15 touchdowns, no interceptions. 1,600 total yards, 7.8 yards per pass, and a rating of 108.4.
Yeah, that's Josh Allen. Still doesn't have an interception. Yeah.
That's Josh Allen. And for context, a rating of 100 is really good. So he's at 108.4. That's Josh Allen. 15 touchdowns, no picks. Well, they have 2 losses. Yeah, they have 2 losses against 2 really good teams. All right, that's player C. Do you want A or B next?
B. Let's go
Player B. 7 touchdowns total, 8 interceptions, 1,500 yards, which is lower than player C, 7.4 yards per pass, the lowest of the 3 candidates, and a rating of 82.5. 100 is really good. 82.5 is the player rating for player B.
Would you guys agree that 82.5 is about an average, meaning middle of the road quarterback in the league? Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Paul, go ahead and say who it is, because we know.
I mean, we know it's Patrick Mahomes. It's the guy we've been talking about.
Yeah, with 8 interceptions.
The favorite, the MVP favorite.
Yes.
Is
yes.
Player B. Okay. Just wanted to clear that up. And then player A, 11 total touchdowns, 4 interceptions, the most yards. Well, actually not the most yards, 1,600 yards. Player C has a couple more yards. 9.3 yards per pass, the best in the league, and a rating of 111.5. 111.5 rating.
See, now I'm talking myself in circles. Now I have like a few different ideas of who this could be. I'm going to say no. I'll say Lamar, but I want to say there's a couple other names. This could be a number of players. Paul, who do you think?
I think I'll go with Jared Goff. Would be my guess there without looking.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I
Player
wanted
A,
to say
Jared Goff.
another one. Goff.
It's Goff.
I was starting to think Baker, actually.
No, Baker has
Wait,
15 touchdowns.
But
that's the only reason I
it's
knew.
not enough touchdowns. It's not enough touchdowns. Otherwise, I was going to go Baker.
I feel like we've had this conversation in the. Yeah.
Sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like we've had this conversation a little bit in years past. Can Goff win the MVP, or is Dan like? I mean,
I think
it does feel different this year, right?
Yeah, it's different because I don't ever remember a number of times saying, dude, he's like 20 for 20. Like, we're doing that just about every single game. And they're 5-1. And it's not just the hype now. They're matching that hype with a 5-1 record. They take down the undefeated team in the NFC North yesterday. Off a bye, by the way. That's also worth noting. Couple of tough road games, back-to-back spots. They look great. It feels different than the conversation we had in the past. The conversation before was like, look, man, the Lions are going to have a really good record, and he's a quarterback of the team. But now you look at him like, no, he's like the difference maker. Amon-Ra St. Brown is not putting up 100 yards every single week. He's really good. Laporta is not what he was a year ago. Sometimes it's a different running back that's stepping up. But it's always Goff. Always Goff with the consistent numbers.
I think it's so dumb that people are saying, well, Mahomes is the MVP because the Chiefs are undefeated. He's clearly a big part of that, but he's not the only reason they're undefeated. Like, to watch that game yesterday, the watch the game guy kills me. Did you watch the game? The Chiefs defense picked off Brock Purdy 3 times. The Chiefs defense is ahead of the Chiefs offense right now. Watch the game. You watch the games. You watch the games. Watch the games. Give me a break. And Buffalo's 4-2. They have losses to Baltimore and Houston, 2 playoff teams. It's so funny to me. Watch the games. Watch the games, Paul. You watch the games, Paul.
I love this. He's battling in the streets. He's mad about Mahomes. I love it.
The one guy that didn't make the list was Lamar. I didn't put Lamar in the blind resume because I think Derrick Henry takes a lot away from Lamar. Derrick Henry's been very good this year. Lamar's been very good this year. But in my blind resume test, I had the 2 Ravens cancel each other out. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, I made an MVP bet over the weekend. Any guesses?
Goff.
Might as well. We're having the conversation now. It was not Jared Goff.
I think I've got a guess.
Go ahead.
I would guess Joe Burrow.
No. I thought about it. It did not do Burrow. The number went at the site that I bet from 22 to 13 over the weekend. I bet Jordan Love for MVP. It's just too much value. And I'm kicking myself for not doing it when he was out, but I didn't know he was going to return that quickly. And I also didn't know that this dude's going to have 3 or 4 touchdowns every single week. Didn't like the picks from yesterday, but every week, touchdowns are there to different guys. 3 different guys in yesterday's game. You never know who it's going to be. So his number shortened up. He is shorter than Joe Burrow. He's now shorter than Jaden Daniels. He slides down the list a little bit, and he was top 5 the other day. Darnold takes a slide as well. So the MVP conversation is really interesting on a number of levels. A lot of movement over the weekend, but I ended up taking Love. I don't know. Do they have to win the North? Probably. Yeah, they probably have to win the North, but I just felt there's too much value for the numbers he's putting up right now.
You've been hanging out. He was talking about that on Friday. He said, I'm betting Love going into the weekend.
We were going back and
nice
forth
win at
about
home.
it. Yeah.
Did not cover, unfortunately, but a huge win against a good team. That VP level performance in the fourth quarter, down a score, need your quarterback to do what he has to do to win the game. It's a huge drive. It's a huge drive for Jordan Love.
So my question to Shope was, are you sure he can win after missing a couple of games? He simply said yes. And then I sat there and I thought about it. I'm like, wait a second. What does it matter that he missed a couple of games? He's already there with the league leaders at a number of categories while missing a couple of games, which might be even more impressive. And it's so early. Let's assume he plays the rest of the way. Is anybody going to say, hey, remember those games in September that he missed? Oh, we should ding him for that. No, nobody's going to remember that if the numbers are there. It's going to be a fun race.
I want to say CJ Stroud had I don't remember exactly how many yards he had yesterday, but he's another guy that gets talked about for MVP a lot. And I mean, he did almost nothing yesterday in the game.
Was it like
CJ
86?
Stroud,
He was awful.
86 yards, 10 for
His worst
21, 86 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah. That Packers
Real quick.
defense, something.
Pretty good. Can I enter this conversation?
What's that?
Baker enter this conversation?
All right,
Win
let's
tonight.
talk about Baker. Yeah,
He's got to win
we'll do
tonight.
that.
He's got to win tonight.
On the other side, Monday Night Football wagers during Lightning Bets on the BetQL Network.
You're listening to BetQL Daily with Joe Ostrowski and Sam Paniotovich, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Welcome back to BetQL Daily with Joe Ostrowski and Sam Paniotovich. Presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas.
Joe, Sammy P, got lightning bets. Couple of Monday Night Football games coming your way throughout the week. We're going to have a bunch of baseball wagers as we have the build-up for the World Series. A week-long build-up here on the BetQL Network. We were talking about the MVP race and just some of the interesting names out there. Not just the Mahomes idea, but that means there's value elsewhere. I bet Jordan Love over the weekend. That number's pretty short. He's now the 6th favorite. Jared Goff, all of a sudden, he's the 4th favorite. Slipping, you've got Jaden Daniels, you've got Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield plays tonight. Baker. The numbers say he's putting up an MVP-type season, but I'm looking down 6, 8, 10. He is not in the top 10 in the odds, Sam. He is 12th. The highest number I see is a 33-1. Can Baker Mayfield, let's say be top 3, because that's what you're looking for. He's a 33-1 shot right now. Can Baker Mayfield get votes?
No, they have 2 losses this year. You got to be undefeated to win the MVP, Joe. Come on, be better.
Is Jalen Hurts better than him? Is Brock Purdy having a better year? Because they're shorter than Baker.
I don't know the hesitancy for Mayfield. I guess people don't believe it. I mean, clearly the books are willing to throw a 30-1 or higher in your face. And all these markets are predicated on bets. If nobody's betting Baker, they need to make Baker more enticing. Clearly there's enough of an appetite. Even when Mahomes isn't the best player, they're still betting him to be the MVP. Yep. So there's an appetite for Mahomes. There's not an appetite for Baker. But Monday Night Football, 3 touchdowns, 250 yards, you could kiss the 30-1s goodbye. That's for sure.
Didn't get to some of the injuries that happened over the weekend. We talked about the quarterback ones. Obviously, Deshaun Watson, that was a big story. Then DTR gets hurt. I was like, where's Jameis Winston? Why is he the 3rd stringer? Is he that bad? They should have more information on him than we do, but that kind of makes me think, boy, they must see that he's just got awful, that to the point where he's almost unplayable. Came in at the very end of that game. Huntley goes down, so then Miami, another quarterback change, but we think Tua could come back. He should be practicing by Wednesday. Aiden O'Connell goes down for Vegas. I know you don't want to bet on any Raiders quarterbacks here. Minshew's worse. He had 4 turnovers yesterday in limited action. O'Connell gets hurt during the game. Minshew comes in. Minshew had 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and a lost fumble, which was returned for a touchdown. Boy, that Raiders team, they're going to be in fighting for the worst record. As that is a dumpster fire. They don't want Pierce. They're turning on him already. It hasn't even been a couple months. They're already turning on the new coach.
Well, and you're going to have a situation going forward where they're going to be catching a lot of points. Yep. 2 teams, to me, are going to be in the double-digit conversation every time they're on the road. That's New England and Vegas. New England's catching Carolina, too. Carolina is not even an NFL team at this point. Our guy our guy Gathers is taking a victory lap on social right now. I just saw that. How about those Commanders? Oh, he told us they were going to cover against Washington, Carolina. Yeah, okay.
Hot take.
Hot take with the Commanders avatar in his profile. I mean, Carolina's catching 7.5 at Denver. New England is catching 7 at home against the Jets. And where's Vegas at? Vegas is catching 10 at home against the MVP and Kansas City. Kansas City minus 10 at Vegas. Those 3 teams, Vegas, Carolina, New England, you're going to see some fourth. What is something I said? Which part? Which part are we laughing at?
You're pissed at everyone. That's the part I'm laughing at.
I'm just amused. I'm highly entertained by so many things right now.
That's what I'm laughing at. Okay, What about the Patriots one? I would ask you about that because you're there in the area and they lose the game. They get doubled up by the Jaguars. But I would think that there would actually be some positivity out of that game because if there were questions, I know it was a soft matchup, but you look at that game yesterday and the numbers that he threw up like, hey, man, yeah, we lost. That sucked. The Jaguars saved Doug's job for a week against us. I hate to spend all that money on the trip and see my team lose, but guys, we got a quarterback. I thought that would be the bigger takeaway. Is that what's happening there?
Well, I can read this. I did screen grab this X from yesterday. So Gerard Mayo went off on several facets of the team after the game, and he called the team soft. And then he also made a comment about one of their young receivers, Jalen Polk, saying, we need more from Polk. We need more concentration. He'll be a good player. He's got to keep working at it. And Simmons sees this and just sees red. So Simmons quotes that tweet of the Mayo comment and says, hey, Mayo, we actually need more from you. Why is your defense getting worse every week? Did Polk jump offside on a pat? Did Polk give up a punt touchdown? Did Polk call all those horrible run plays? You're only good at throwing shade at everybody else, including the previous coach. Look in the mirror.
Wow. As far as Polk goes, this week he said, I believe I have the best hands in the league. So I feel like my drops, that's not an issue at all going into the game. He was dropping balls yesterday morning in London.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? What planet is this guy on? But yeah, I mean, that is certainly fair, but the players also have to perform.
I told you before the season started. They were so loony out here in the Boston area that people were losing the Patriots were tweeting out clips of wide receivers making above average catches. Polk was one of the guys. There's another one. They have another young rookie receiver. Just normal catches that any receiver could make. And tweeting out the clips. Oh, look at this catch. That's because it was that bad last year. They were so excited for routine catches near the sideline. And I thought, it's not even that good of a catch. It is bad here. And the Patriots have no answers. No answers. The team is so untalented with a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. It's going to be bad for a while here. It's going to be bad.
And no O-line. Well, May's going to have numbers because they're going to be trailing every single game. Just play catch-up mode. Okay, fine. We'll sit back here, let you get whatever you want. So he's going to have numbers. And if I'm them, every asset I have. O-line. But I'm not sure that's the way that they're going to handle it. We've all had our first touchdown bet vultured or called back before with BetMGM's Pro Football Second Chance. They're giving you a second chance on first touchdown bets this season. Place any first touchdown scorer wager, and if your player doesn't score first but scores second, get your entire stake back in cash. No opt-in required. Check full terms and conditions. Sam, start us off. Lightning bets on this doubleheader of Monday Night Football.
How about this? I bet you didn't think this was going to happen today. I am betting the Sacramento Kings to win the Pacific Division. So I know you're laughing, aren't you? I think their youth, their talent, and their drive to win the division. They are a team that needs home court. They are so young and talented. De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, Sabonis, Keon Ellis. They brought in a vet in DeMar DeRozan. They bring in Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter off the bench. I think they are 7-8 guys deep, and they are going to win a lot of regular season games. I pump the brakes on win the West, win the title, because I'm not that crazy. But you look at this division, it is wide open. You have a bunch of teams that are going to be doing the rest management thing. You know, good luck with a couple of these teams like Phoenix. I'm just not there. So I think BetMGM has the best price. Well, not I think. I know that BetMGM has the best price in the world on Sacramento, plus 275. The floor is plus 210. There's a plus 210 in the market. So, yeah, go get that plus 275 on the Sacramento Kings to win the Pacific Division. I think they're going to be playing for a top 2, top 3 seed this year. Now, can they win in the playoffs? I don't know. But DeRozan, bringing him in, is going to help them out, help those young kids out a whole lot. That guy is a really, really good player to have in the locker room, and they're going to win a lot of games. I'm also betting Tampa Bay. Let's call it 3.5 tonight. I thought money line. You're telling me that Pewter Report is saying Vita Vea is going to go. That is a big deal against a Baltimore running attack. So I'll take 3.5. Just in case the Ravens win by 1, 2, or 3, I will take 3.5. And let's go Baker Mayfield tonight. Let's have a big game. Don't know that he could ever take down the mighty Mahomes for MVP. But I think the Ravens are going to be in a war tonight with Tampa Bay. So I'll take the points. Give me 3.5.
Okay, that's the show bet because I'm taking 3.5. We talked about this last week. We love that mismatch of the Bucs offense against that Ravens pass defense. Certainly advantage there. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the Ravens don't have any advantages. They certainly do with that strong rushing attack. But I like it. I like it. It ended up being a big game, what Lamar did. And it's now back-to-back 300-yard games. He's playing like the MVP this season. You know, he got his second MVP last season. He's the second favorite right now. He's dominated the NFC. But against the number, we're talking about a 500 record against the number. I don't want to lay it with Lamar at more than a field goal. And that's what you're doing on the road in this spot against Todd Bowles' defense. Don't love that. And it looks like Vea's good to go. I feel good about this 3.5. And this Bucs offense is not getting enough credit. They're top 5, top 6 in the league. EPA per play, number 6 overall. EPA per rush, number 5. You know, with Bucky Irving, that's been a strong rushing attack for them. Ravens are good against the run, but Bucs plus 3.5. And I'm with you on Baker. Baker over 1.5 passing touchdowns. The late game, that number's down to 1. Money coming in on the Cardinals. I'm just hoping my teaser comes through. The other leg is the Cardinals plus 8.5 there. Best of luck with all of your wagers. Got all week to talk about the World Series, all the bets that we like there. Talk about it all tomorrow. Make sure you're here 9 a.m. Eastern. This has been BetQL Daily on the BetQL Network.
You've been listening to BetQL Daily, presented by BetMGM. The sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly. If you missed any of the show, listen back anytime on the new and improved Odyssey app.
Are you ready, sir? Start your engines. Let's go.
Astros money line versus the Marlins. Johnny Cueto, no thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. how does this affect me personally?
Which is absolutely bonkers to me.
If you do the middle school math, is 117 yards per game that you gotta post each and every weekend.
I knew it.
Who has the upper hand? Do we think it's going to be the offenses, or do we think it's going to be the defenses?
How about Saturday's game? Let's just throw a random game out here.
Like, I don't want to put faith in NC State. There's a chance we'll lose
team.
outright. Who knows? Jinx is definitely not paying attention right now. He's just vibing to the music.
Are you ready for the most interactive sports gambling show? Introducing BetQL's Send It In with PJ Glasser. We want to hear from you. Send It In is about your picks, your trends, and your fades. Share your thoughts, predictions, and your best daily best bets with the Send It In community. Set your reminders, mark your calendars, and get ready to send it in on weekday afternoons at 1 Eastern on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Go for the betting cycle on BetQL with Cody Decker.
Cody Decker, former professional baseball player, turned professional smartass on the radio.
Sports handicapper Rob Brown.
When Penix Jr. plays USC, he's getting 400 yards.
Cycling all the top plays.
And Cody Decker, I think Florida can cover today.
And one outrageous show parlay.
1, 2, 3.
Let the chaos begin. It's Bet for the Cycle on the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Some would say that maybe he'll be chasing Super Bowl MVP. Really makes me angry that, like, Knicks fans can't have anything. We've been bad for... I get it. Now it's, okay, 100% of attention on 9 million games tonight. It's a playoff game! We've seen this movie before, and we know how it ends. And it ends with absolute disaster. But I'll tell you, that's fun. But the most fun thing about betting on sports for me is this. Like, hey, there's no tomorrow. And now, come on, put Pickett in.
Are you ready, sir? Start your engines. Let's go.
If I wanted to have fun, I was going to go to Disneyland with my kids.
With Michael Jenkins.
And you can say I'm a homer. I don't care. Sark has built this program like Nick Saban built Alabama. This is a really deep roster. This is a national championship roster.
And Chelsea Messenger.
Let's try to beat the rest of the network at being degenerates, because maybe, just maybe, we can win in that regard.
I do like the idea of a parlay.
Hey, Dad, don't forget about me, the Dunkster.
Presented by BetMGM. The sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly.
If anyone can be a degenerate, it can be us.
It is a daily tip from BetQL, presented by BetMGM. Coming up in our final hour, more reaction from Week 7 in the National Football League. But the week is far from done, because in 20 minutes, 2 games on the Monday Night Football slate. Ravens, Bucks in Tampa, and the Chargers and Cardinals in the desert. We will preview both of those games at 8:20. And yes, we will visit with the Donkster and hand out our favorite plays at 8:40. Chelsea, do you iron? And you know why I asked this question? Because as I'm walking through this little studio here, and we're in a sort of a, not underground, but it's definitely a downstairs studio.
It's a performance studio is what it used to be.
That's right.
There's a little stage and a big area for them to put chairs and hold sales meetings every Tuesday.
I've been on that stage before. I was on there with the Junkies a few years ago. We were doing some sort of live just interview. But this was for like little mini concerts, I think, at some point. I don't know if that happens anymore. But normally it's a sales meeting every Tuesday. Bill and I know that because the show's over and we have to hustle out and be like, oops, sorry. They have a PowerPoint presentation as soon as our show ends. But now they've got like family-style seating. I don't know what's going on this morning. It looks like a Thanksgiving setup where it's just a row.
Oh.
Yeah. Plates are set out, little invitations. And then randomly, as I'm walking in, you can't see it from here, in a chair is an iron out of a box, just kind of sitting around like someone's going to press their shirt before this, I'm sure, very important pre-Thanksgiving meal.
My guess is they ironed like the tablecloths.
Oh, that's what it is.
That's my guess,
Good
too.
call. Good call.
It's the betting
You'd be a
favorite.
good
Tablecloth, minus 500.
You'd be a very good detective. I'm like, someone ironed a shirt. You're like, how about that tablecloth, you moron? But that just makes me think of my question. Do you ever iron your clothes? Because what I do is I'm lazy. I just get like the wrinkle releaser and I go, just kind of rub the shirt and then the wrinkles fall off. Do you iron?
We don't own an iron, which is
Oh,
probably
really?
sacrilegious for me as a housewife. Oh, we do
That's
the lazy
surprising.
tricks as well. Because back when we were living in the hotel, sure, they had irons, but what you could also do is you could hang up your clothes in the bathroom and run a hot shower, and it'll steam your wrinkles out for the most part. Does it look freshly pressed? Absolutely not. It still looks a little sloppy, but it's better than trying to operate an iron. So maybe we need to purchase one. But no, I don't do a lot of ironing in my free time.
I don't do any. Every now and then, Catherine will break out the iron. She's very old school like that, which I don't know if that's old school. I think a lot of people use
She has a corporate job, though, right? Like, she probably has to.
And she can work a sewing machine. Like, she sews really well, which is kind of crazy to me. I feel like that's kind of a lost art. But for me, it's like that balance. I'll just pull out the Downy wrinkle releaser, go, all right, give this a few minutes, I'm good to go. The problem is if you have something super wrinkly, then you just have to spray it down, and it's like, awesome. It looks like I wet my shorts. These things are soaking wet because there's so much wrinkle releaser on them. So you have to find that balance between I need the wrinkles out, but also if it's too wrinkly, that doesn't really work.
Yeah, or you just don't wear it. You're just like, well, that was a good thought. But the dryer is a good option as well, because I'm assuming you do the wrinkle releaser and then you pop it in the dryer.
Yeah, I do the quick steam. Like, you spray it on there and then a little quick steam in the dryer, like 10 minutes, good to go. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, this is what I need to be better at, because I feel like this has been my evolution over like the past 2 years, where I have been trying to become turn a bro into a housewife. Like, you've heard, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Well, for me, it's you can't turn a bro into a housewife, because what I've been doing is living in casinos, drinking beer, staying up all night, because my husband played baseball, and I didn't have a job, and we lived at a casino. What else was I going to do? I didn't have a stoop to decorate. I didn't have a crock pot. So now I am trying to become a good housewife. And today I am making a pot roast. This weekend I spent an inordinate amount of time trying to make our stoop look good. I did not realize that arranging pumpkins on your stairs was going to be so difficult to make it look good. Because anybody can put some pumpkins on each step. But if you want it to look like the girls on Instagram and the housewives that do it all, it takes a lot of work.
Chelsea,
so I'm trying.
I think to help you on this journey of yours as part of your support group, which now includes me, and I'm going to bring in everyone else on this show, every year around this time, maybe you make your annual daily tip chicken pot pie for everyone. We all get a huge heaping helping. That will be awesome.
Well, I'm actually making chicken pot pie soup. That's one of the recipes that I'm trying out this week as Chelsea tries to become a housewife. So I'll let you know how it goes. And I don't think I can mail you a bowl. I don't think that would be great.
You can. It wouldn't be great. Well, that's interesting. You take a chicken pot pie, but it's a soup. So it's a thicker soup?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the same ingredients as chicken pot pie, but obviously you don't have the crust around it. So what you do is you make the little crescent rolls and you dip them in the soup. Either way, it sounds really good.
That sounds delicious. You should have that this weekend while you're watching football. Soup season. Well, before we wrap up week 7 tonight with 2 games on Monday Night Football, what do we see over the weekend? How about the Packers topping the Texans 24-22? Jordan Love, 24 of 33, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. That one throw he had to his tight end, I believe. What's that guy's name? Tucker? Oh, my God.
Tucker Kraft.
Yes. I mean, someone said on X before they showed the replay of that pass, this person said the end zone view of this pass is going to be not suitable for work, as in it's going to be amazing. And I'm telling you, this pass, there was a Texans defender's arm stretched out, and that ball goes, I mean, by the thinnest of margins, goes right past his fingertip and into the hands of the receiver for the touchdown. It was world class. But I think my bigger takeaway is that once again, this division, the NFC North, is unbelievable from top to I think this is the best division in football right now.
I don't even think that's a hot take.
Yeah,
like
it's
who
not.
is the other candidate for best division in all of football? I'm trying to think off the top of my brain because going into the season, I think the front runner may have been the AFC East, but the Jets have laid an absolute egg. Maybe you go out to the NFC West? No. AFC West?
No. I think this is it. The NFC East is meh. Normally the NFC East is right up there, but no. No, it's the NFC North. I don't think it's close at all. I don't think it's a hot take. It just is.
It's not even close. They're the only team where every team is at least 2 games above 500.
Yeah.
It's not close.
It's not a debate. I'm here for all the milk with toast takes, all the lukewarm takes. Oh, here's the best division. But it is. It is, though. You know, it's not. This is historically at least the past few years, been so top heavy. And now, man, everyone can play. It's something to see.
Okay, so there's a bet in here somewhere because we had a discussion about this in baseball. As the regular season unfolded, we said the NL West seems like the best division in Major League Baseball. And the tie-in here is, I said, okay, you can bet on the NL West to win the World Series. I think it was like plus 210 or something.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at the Dodgers in the World Series. So if there was a bet for the NFC North to win the Super Bowl, which I am currently scrolling through BetMGM right now, would you pick a team?
Okay.
Plus 300.
Plus 300. And it's
Do you
not
think
the
a
favorite.
team? I was going to say, just because the Chiefs and the Niners are your favorites to win the Super Bowl, so you could probably get some good value there. Do you think it's worth a bet? You could get 3 good teams. The Vikings, which I don't know if they can win a Super Bowl, the Lions, who I'm super high on, and the Packers.
Just to win the Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that either of those? The Bears aren't ready. The Packers, I don't think, have it. No, Vikings. Do I believe in the Vikings? I don't know.
It's about the Lions.
It's about the Lions. Yeah. It's about the Lions.
And you can get them 10-1, right?
Yeah, I think that I like that play better.
Bet.
I think I think ultimately, as we talk through this, all those teams, it's impressive what they're doing. But I think once we get down to the nuts and bolts of it and get to the really elite teams, the teams that can win it all, I think the Lions are the one team. So why not grab them at 10-1? And also, there is some talk. There's a lot of talk because there's a lot that can happen between now and then that Aiden Hutchinson could return potentially for the Super Bowl if he heals up right, because he went through a big-time injury at Michigan, healed more quickly than most players do, which some guys do. So I think I just take the Lions at 10-1.
Yeah, I think so too. Because in the Super Bowl, like the depth of your division does not matter at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at the AFC West. Like, it's not been one of the better divisions in all of football, but yet the Chiefs keep winning Super Bowls. So you don't get extra credit for being from a good division. And in fact, sometimes it's tougher because if you don't win your division, you don't have as easy as a path to the Super Bowl. So maybe it doesn't go into it. I just thought maybe it was a conversation worth having.
Yeah, worth at least talking it through, right? How about the Eagles taking down the Giants 28-3? Saquon Barkley returning to the Meadowlands, 17 carries, 176 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, 5 catches, 89 yards and a score. Danny Dimes benched in this game. 14 of 21, 99 yards. Drew Lock in the game in the fourth quarter. But I have to say, I was so happy to see Saquon go back and burn these guys. And they were booing him. I'm like, don't boo him. It's not his fault. You guys decided to let him go. So boo your own management, your own brass. It's not Saquon's fault. He tried to stay. You didn't want him. You let him go. So this is on you.
Yeah, Saquon's a saint. How dare you? A very nice guy. You should have offered him more money. What do we make of the Eagles? I feel like I don't even keep up with the Eagles that much because I've pretty much written them off. Just because the eye test, they don't look like a Super Bowl contender. But they do have a ton of talent on that roster. And if they can put it together, like, I don't know what the Super Bowl odds are for the Eagles. What are they, 15-1?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth taking a flyer on the Eagles?
They were my preseason pick. I don't feel great about it now because Nick Sirianni is chirping at his own fans. And if you look at the stats from Jalen Hurts, he's been okay. 10 of 14, 114 yards, a touchdown. Very efficient when you have Saquon. You don't need to have a huge day. But they're not the explosive team that we saw a couple years ago on offense where they just couldn't be stopped. I don't know. I think it's because their offensive coordinator from then is gone. But ultimately, this is just a different Eagles team that maybe can get better. Certainly they have a higher ceiling than we've seen.
I think so too, but at some point, you have to believe what your eyes are telling you. Like, we were talking about this with the Jets. You know, at some point in the season where you're saying, okay, well, they still have top end potential. Maybe you can believe in the Jets as somebody who can play spoiler in the postseason. But, like, how many games is it going to take us to be like, okay, maybe the Jets just aren't that good? And I understand that the Eagles are coming off a win over the Giants. Hooray, let's throw a party. But I feel like there's nothing there for the Eagles to make me think that they're one of the best teams in the NFL. Can they still make the playoffs? Maybe. Yeah. But I still feel like the Commanders look like the best team in that division. But we did have some injuries over the weekend. Jenks, are you holding your breath about Jaden Daniels?
I think he's going to be okay. The Commanders just crushed the Panthers 40-7. Jaden Daniels leaves early with a rib injury. And then Marcus Mariota comes in. Looks awesome. 18 of 23, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think it's that Cliff Kingsbury offense where Cliff has really adjusted what he does offensively, and he's found sort of this magic elixir in D.C. But Jaden Daniels came back onto the field after hurting his ribs, and he was waving at the fans and looked like he was in a good mood. I think he probably just bruised his ribs. And if you've ever had a rib injury, super, super painful. So I think what happens is they give him a week or two to heal up, but it doesn't look like anything that's going to be season ending. It's just going to be how much pain can he endure.
Yeah, because that would be my only question about the Commanders. You know, if you look at them early in the season, you say, okay, the only thing that can derail them is a quarterback injury, and then Jaden Daniels got hurt. So hopefully it's not for a long period of time, but I will say at least they have some wiggle room because they have started the season so well.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that Mariota comes in, he looks great. And also, I know the Panthers are bad, but the Commanders sacked their starters in the fourth quarter. Like, winning 40-7 in the NFL, no matter how bad the opposing team is something, especially when you do it primarily the backup quarterback. Commanders look like no joke. Coming up next, it is a Monday Night Football double dip with the Ravens in Tampa and the Cards in the desert. Previews are next on the Daily Tip from BetQL, presented by BetMGM.
Hey, this is Brad Evans. Join me on BetMGM tonight alongside Ryan Horvat, weekdays 7 to 11 Eastern, only on the BetQL Network. Sledgehammer me!
Welcome back to the Daily Tip, presented by BetMGM. The sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger on the BetQL Network.
Welcome back. It is a Daily Tip from BetQL, presented by BetMGM. And if I remember correctly, we should get a nice little guitar riff here. Yeah. Coming up on the show, Lamar Jackson tries to continue making his case for NFL MVP with his Ravens on the road in Tampa. Well, Chelsea, it's been a good run, or it's been a run. I don't really know, for Jelly Roll on X.
Oh.
But now he's done. He's done. He says, well, this is what he says. He posted this. When was this posted? Yesterday afternoon on X. This is for sure the most toxic, negative app to exist ever, period. This place is different, man. I always heard it was the Wild West on here, but, man, it's insane. It's a safe place for everyone to say mean shiz to each other with no consequences. I'm out. So it's a sad day for X that Jelly Roll is gone, and it's a sad day for us that we no longer get the thoughts of Jelly Roll online. Are you going to be able to make it to the end of this show?
I wonder where this comes from. Like, there had to be an incident, right? Like, I'm trying to connect the dots. You think so?
Yeah, for sure. My gut would be, and I don't know, but if your name is Jelly Roll and you have a particular look, which he certainly has, I would imagine just scrolling through the comments, which I'm not going to do, but I would imagine he gets a lot of negative commentary on a regular basis. And after a while, you're like, I'm just tired of reading this.
Yeah, but I feel like this is something that, like, he's dealt with his whole life. Like, I feel like there had to be something that happened, whether it's to his family, because from my time scrolling the Reddit headlines of celebrity wives of Nashville, people are really mean to his wife, Bunny, who used to be a high-end escort, if I'm reading this correctly. And people hate on her all the time because, listen, she is very attractive. She's blonde. She's over the top. And you've seen pictures of Jelly Roll. So there's a lot of people who are like, oh, she's a gold digger or whatever.
Right.
So maybe it has something to do with his family, because I feel like this is the pushing point for a lot of people. It's not when they make fun of you. It's when they bring your family into it is when it really starts to bubble over.
I agree. And I also think at the same time, like, I think it's getting worse. Like, social media has been a part of our existence for a long time. But also now more than ever, people are always online, and you have, whether it's the development of Instagram Reels or TikTok, and now there are people now, this is a generation where they don't remember a time when they weren't engulfed in social media, where they weren't constantly in the comment section. And I think after a while, most people forget there's a person behind there. Like, there is someone that you're talking about who could read this. Because in your mind, you're just like, I'm going to say something, this is funny, or this is mean, I don't care. I'm going to put it in the section, or I'm going to put it in the replies, and boom, I'm done. And then you forget, oh, there's an actual human being who might read this and who might be affected by this. And people don't really think about that anymore, and it's gotten worse over time. And so I think we might see more of this. We see it from time to time with a celebrity, and it's heightened exponentially when you're someone who's in the spotlight.
But I do think you should not let negative people stop you from what you're trying to do. Because as a celebrity, or like even an artist, you still have to, ride the publicity train and push out your music. So I think, maybe the solution to this is you just have a social media manager. I feel like there are tons of celebrities who do this, where it's not even them who run their social media accounts. They hire somebody who puts out all of their stuff, curates the image that they want, and they don't even look at the responses because, think about all the people who put out, great art or great performances if they had listened to the haters. And I
Yeah.
know that sounds like very elemental, but like think of all like those artists that like nobody liked back when they were living and then they died and like all their stuff like what's the equivalent of like going viral? You know, people started liking it. But imagine if they listened to the haters. We would never have their art.
Well, I think that's the beauty of what he does is that he doesn't have to be online to continue doing what he wants to do. I think it's just, I'm going to continue doing what I do, but as far as being online, I'm just not going to do this anymore. Like, I'm going to still be doing what has made me good or made me popular. I'll continue my craft, but I'm not going to do that in addition to also being online where I'm going to be subject to all this abuse or people saying things to me that I don't like. So best of luck, Jelly Roll. I get it. You can always come back if you like. Chelsea, what will people say if we miss our picks tonight? Or if we hit our picks on Monday Night Football? Who knows? It's always a crapshoot. Let's start with Ravens and Bucks. We have 2 games on the schedule tonight. Ravens laying 3.5. The Ravens minus 190. The Bucks are plus 115. The total is 49.5. So I like the Bucks here. I think you've been leaning towards the Ravens. I know it's not your favorite play, but how do you see this game playing out?
I'm trying to make a case for the Ravens, and it's just, I don't know. It's a tough case to make either way because I was looking at the schedule for the Bucks, and I'm saying to myself, okay, what's the best rush attack that they have faced? And it was the Lions, who are one of the better rushing attacks in the NFL, and the Bucks went on the road and beat the Lions 20-16. So I feel like that certainly counts for something. But also you've got to see that the Bucks are a little nicked up right now. Vita Vea, their best run stopper, on the injury report. We don't know if Mike Evans is going to play in this game. So I don't know. It's hard to go against the Ravens because obviously the top end potential is there. They have the potential to beat somebody to a pulp if they really want to, if that run game is going and if they stick to the run. Because sometimes that's a problem with the Ravens. They'll be running the ball effectively and they're like, hey, let's throw it in the second half against the Chiefs. That did not turn out well for them. But I feel like from a betting perspective, maybe the only play I like in this game is Chris Godwin. You know, if Mike Evans does not play, which it looks like he's a game time decision, they're saying. So obviously I'm not going to place this bet right now. But if you don't have your number one receiver, it's going to be 1B that's going to be getting all the targets, and that's going to be Chris Godwin. So for me, his receptions prop is 6.5. Not sure what the yardage play is, but he's even had some big games in each of the last 3, going over 64 yards in all 3 of those games. Last time against the Saints, had 11 catches for 125 yards. So he's still a very good receiver. And if we have Mike Evans out of the mix, I think a lot of the targets will go to Chris Godwin.
I think that's a possibility. Also, I think it looks like Mike Evans is going to play. Now, maybe this has changed in the past day and a half, but Adam Schefter tweeted on Saturday afternoon, Mike Evans off the injury report for the Buccaneers. He is good to go against the Ravens. So just keep that in mind. That could always change, but it looks like he is going to play. And I'm glad because I like the Bucks plus 3.5 here. And I think the Ravens played a really physical game last week against the Commanders. They're going into a spot where the Bucs have played good football, and they found something in their backfield as well with Bucky Irving and Rashad White, and now Sean Tucker emerging like he did last week. I'm going to take the home dog here. Do you care about a total here, or is this a stay away for you?
I didn't even know Mike Evans was playing, so clearly I don't need to be betting on this game. So I don't think I'm playing anything in this game, and for the reason being that I like the other game better. It just feels like I'm going back and forth when it comes to a side and even a total, because I think they're kind of correlated. Because if the Bucs are in this game and it's not a blowout game, I'm expecting a very back and forth affair. But if they're not in the game, the Ravens are going to run the football. They're going to, chew down the clock. So I don't know. If you don't have a feeling on a side, I feel like you shouldn't have a feeling on a total either.
No, I agree with you there. Well, let's go to the other game tonight. Chargers at Cardinals out west. This was Chargers -3, so a touch of money coming in on Arizona. The Chargers are also -130 on the money line. The Cards are +110. Your total is 44.5, Chelsea. I love the Chargers in this spot. I found them at -121 on the money line. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, the Cardinals cannot stop the run. And guess what the Chargers love to do? They love to run the football. Harbaugh ball is back, baby, for the Chargers. We know they've got a great quarterback in Justin Herbert, but it's been, J.K. Dobbins, the rush attack, and also the defense. This is low-key one of the best defenses in the NFL, at least statistically speaking. I know they've played some of the worst offenses in the NFL, but the Cardinals are going to be hobbled a bit when it comes to the offensive side of things with Marvin Harrison Jr. out, a number one target, obviously, for Kyler Murray. So it feels to me like the Chargers bowl over the Cardinals in this one. I'll take the Chargers on the money line as well.
Yeah. I mean, the Cardinals injury report is ridiculous. The number of players who got banged up last week, you can go down a list here. It's not just Marvin Harrison Jr. Evan Brown, their left guard, linebacker Kazir White, defensive linebacker, or lineman, I should say, Bilal Nichols, cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting, cornerback Star Thomas. Now, some of those guys will probably be activated tonight or at least will play. But, man, all those guys left the game at some point last week. And this Chargers defense has been one of the best in the National Football League, if not the best. So they might not be explosive on offense. That's the one thing that the Chargers don't really have is that explosive capability. But that's okay. They like to run the ball with J.K. Dobbins, and there's a reason why he is one of the players up for the Comeback Player of the Year award, which I'm glad, by the way, because he could never just get quite right for the Ravens. He just needed a change of pace. And this Cardinals defense is not very good. One of the worst defenses in the National Football League. So I see a lower scoring game, but I definitely see a Chargers win. So that's going to be a squad play for us.
Yeah, so if you like the Chargers on the money line, I feel like there are a couple of correlating plays. If you like them to run the football and you like their defense to be lights out, obviously the under kind of jumps out under 44 if you think the Chargers are going to be controlling the clock, because they're one of the teams in the NFL that plays at one of the slowest paces in the league, and they also have one of the highest rush rates of any team in the NFL. Those two things normally correlate to the under. As far as Josh Jacobs goes, or not Josh Jacobs, I was thinking of Josh Jacobs because I played him in this matchup against the Cardinals last week, and he was in a smash spot because the Cardinals are terrible against the run. Before that game, the Cardinals had allowed 110 plus to an opposing back in 3 straight games. The only reason Josh Jacobs did not go over his rushing prop in that one is because the game was so lopsided. So that brings me to playing J.K. Dobbins in this one. It's a high number. I think it's in the 80s for his rushing prop. But if you believe that the Chargers are going to commit to the run, and matchup-wise, it feels like that's the thing to do since the Cardinals can't stop the run, I would be on J.K. Dobbins to go over his rushing prop as well.
Okay. I like that because I think that fits in line with the game script that we're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to play a total in this game. I like the total in the other game, in the Bucs-Ravens game, which we'll get to when it comes to our best bets because I'm going to put that on the card. But I kind of like the under here. The thing about the Chargers is that as good as they are on defense, they're a team that is very mediocre, probably bottom third of the league when it comes to offensive output, only 18.2 points per game. That's 26th in the league. So even though Arizona is banged up and pretty leaky, I don't know if Justin Herbert lights them up because that's not what the Chargers do, which is weird to say, right? I've had to sort of adjust my brain from the Chargers being a team that constantly throws the ball with Justin Herbert to a team that kind of wants to have more of that balance. And also, Justin Herbert is banged up as well, so I think it takes some of the pressure off of him when he can hand off the football. So I expect this LA defense to step up. I expect J.K. Dobbins to have success on the ground. I expect a slower pace game. So even though this number ticked up from 43.5 to 44, my lean would be to the under.
What about a Harbaugh parlay? I know you're on the Bucs, but would you consider a Ravens-Chargers parlay? Who has it better than us? Parlay.
You could do a teaser. I'm on the Bucs tonight. I like the Bucs plus 3.5. So I can't do the side as far as Chargers money line and Ravens minus 3.5. But you could also do a teaser, like a Harbaugh teaser if you wanted to, and then you could tease each side.
But how would you tease it as favorites for the Chargers?
Yeah, I guess
because you don't go through 0.
No, you don't want to. Yeah, I don't know. You just have to. You have to like both sides of this game. Is what it comes down to. Do you?
And we don't.
Oh,
no.
okay. Well, I like the Chargers for sure, but I know you kind of talked about the Ravens. You didn't feel great about Bucks plus 3.5. So I was trying to talk you into maybe your own Harbaugh teaser or Harbaugh parlay.
I just know that there is a book that's going to offer this because I see these promos all the time. Like they try to make like fun little parlays that like there's nothing to do with like the actual game. It's like, oh, New York State of Mind. And it's like all the New York teams. I'm like, why would you bet this? Because it has a catchy name for the parlay. Don't do that. So somebody's offering this.
It'll be like, who has it better than us? Who has it better than you with this odds boost on a Harbaugh parlay? And just writes itself. You know that's coming. Coming up next here on the show, it was a solid, if not spectacular, week for our wagers, but Monday always brings a chance to get on a hot streak. Best bets next on the Daily Tip from BetQL, presented by BetMGM.
Coming up, Jenks and Chelsea give out their best bets here on the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Let's get back to the Daily Tip with Chelsea Messenger and Michael Jenkins on the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM. The sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly.
Welcome back. It is the Daily Tip from BetQL, presented by BetMGM. Didn't even have to say a double D. Hope you're having a great morning. Thanks for waking up with us. We are live across the country, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the East. I'm Michael Jenkins. She is Chelsea Messenger. We have best bets coming your way here in mere moments. We were talking about Jelly Roll retiring from X earlier in the show. And the comment I think that I hate worse than any comment ever, because you can always say it and it's like the lowest common denominator comment, which is, this didn't age well. I'm like, yeah, I know. When you make predictions for a living, then all of a sudden any bet that you get wrong is, this didn't age well. I'm like, yes, I know. But the reason why I mention this is because, of course, I went off on my Texas pick on Friday. I thought they were going to cover against Georgia. Didn't happen. Fine. Congratulations to PJ, by the way. He called that. Georgia plus 3.5. But on Instagram, I get a DM from someone responding to my reel on Instagram about Texas winning, and it's someone I know, a Texas fan. He's like, this didn't age well. I'm like, obviously. Why are you sending this to me? Like, you're a friend of mine. You're a Texas fan. Why are you, of all people, sending this to me? I just don't understand, Chelsea. I'm gonna put on Instagram today, following the role of my personal leader, Jelly Roll. I'm just going to log off for a few weeks. I'm like, even people I know, even people on my side do this kind of nonsense. I mean, it just makes my head want to explode.
Well, I feel like the response here is, if you thought this was such a bad take, you need to say it before the game. And you need
Right.
to fade me so hard all the way to the bank, because I hate when people do this to me as well. If it was such a bad play, why didn't you take the other side? And why aren't you on a yacht somewhere right now with all of your winnings? Put your money where your mouth is. So this is the ultimate troll move. It is frustrating. It's annoying, because that's the thing. If they disagree with your analysis, do it before the game.
Yeah, totally. I just couldn't believe. I'm like, am I getting trolled by someone who's an actual friend of mine? Because I don't remember you telling me about how Georgia was going to whip us. You know?
Right.
I just don't understand. I don't know. I think I'm just getting old. Me and Jelly Roll, you know, someday we'll be hanging out. Yeah.
Personal a little bit, isn't it? Like, it probably hurts more that it's Texas. It's not just, I had the over in like the Packers-Texans game. Like, that one doesn't dig me deep. Like, oh, I lost it. Sorry.
Yeah.
But like when it's Texas, it probably adds like fuel to the fire that's already burning out of control.
No, it's true. It's like I'm bummed. I'm like, I mean, the play not hitting, whatever. But when your team loses and there's all this buildup and everyone's talking about it, and I'm up watching game day and I'm excited, it's been a good season, like that's like, I'm already deflated. And then it just sort of adds to it. So you're totally right. It's not really not getting the pick right. It's the people afterwards like leaning into you already being down, and it always makes it worse when it's like that. So you're not wrong, Chelsea. Coming up on BetQL Daily, betting analyst Jason Lockton IV will drop by, and he'll hand out some of the plays he likes tonight on Monday Night Football. If you missed our conversation about our early expectations for the World Series between the Yankees and Dodgers, Game 1 set for Friday night, we've got plenty of time to talk about it, and we will throughout the week, but we have always got you covered. Just download each and every segment if you like from the Daily Tip. Just search for the Daily Tip and download and subscribe. All right, here we go. Fresh new week of bets. Let's get to it.
Time to place your bets.
Oh, I see we have a squad play on the card, Chelsea. What do you got?
Yeah, we're going to go with the Chargers on the money line today over the Cardinals. And here's why. I feel like the Chargers will be able to establish the run, and that's one thing they are very good at. If you look at this Cardinals defense, they've had some decent games against the run, but they've also had some really bad ones, giving up 100 yards rushing to a single running back when it came to the Lions game, when it came to the Commanders game. And even just recently against the Packers, I was on that Josh Jacobs rushing prop. He didn't get it, but simply because the Packers were absolutely blowing the doors off of the Cardinals. The Packers rushed for 179 yards as a team. Plus, you look at this Chargers defense, low-key, one of the better defenses in the league. Very good at stopping the run, making you one-dimensional. And the Cardinals are coming into this game pretty banged up. No Marvin Harrison Jr. For Kyler Murray to throw to. I think that's going to be a big blow. So for me, it's all about the Chargers in this one. Hopefully they don't Charger now that Jim Harbaugh is in the mix. Let's go Chargers. Money line, -120.
I love it. I am also on Bucks Ravens over 49.5. I think the Bucks can have plenty of success in that Ravens secondary. As good as the Ravens are against the run, and they are fantastic, their secondary does have some weak spots, so that means that the Ravens will have to respond in kind. I think they'll do that because Todd Bowles likes to blitz. Lamar Jackson can take off and have success. The trends are definitely your friends here. Ravens 5-1 to the over in their last 6. The Bucks 5-2 to the over in their last 7. Also, Baltimore is in the middle of a 4-game winning streak. Look how many points they've been putting up on opposing defenses. 28 against the Cowboys, 35 against the Bills, 41 against the Bengals, 30 against the Commanders. They have success. Again, I don't know who covers in this game, but I think we see a ton of points in prime time, which is not the norm. Let's go over 49.5.
Ooh, rooting for points, are we? I think this is going to be the opposite of what we see in the other game. Like the Chargers and Cardinals, I think it's going to be low scoring. I'm not going to add it to the card, but I'm hoping for at least some entertainment value in the Ravens and the Bucks.
Chelsea, this is your chance. Do you have a lean, something you've been thinking about, not an official play, that people need more? What do you have? Something? Anything? Anything?
I don't have any more bets, but I've been thinking about my stoop. I think I've mentioned it 3 times on the show.
Yeah?
I need my pumpkins to look perfect. No leans as far as betting goes.
When you say, I need my pumpkins to look perfect, first of all, that's quite a phrase. Quite a turn.
Don't flip that.
Yeah, I know. You know where I'm going. I need my pumpkins to look perfect. But what does that mean when I'm talking about your stoop? Like, when you say your pumpkins to look perfect, is that just aligning them the right way? Do you need the pumpkins to be a certain size? Like, what is that?
Well, here's the thing. I went to the pumpkin patch and bought, like, a large assortment of pumpkins, different colors, different sizes. And now I feel like I have too much going on. Like, have you ever seen somebody's, like, decor or whatever, and you're like, wow, that's kind of a lot going on. So I feel like I should have stuck to one color, but obviously these are first world problems and housewife problems that I now have.
Oh, well, it reminds me of, I got a buddy of mine that used to, I'm trying to find his post from over the weekend, and it made me laugh so hard because he's definitely been doing some fall things with the family, and I used to work with him at NBC, and he posted, went apple picking with my wife and daughter. It was a beautiful day. Everyone had a good time. Never again. It's like, oh, all right, very good. Here's where I'm going tonight. Second bet. I'm going with you. Chargers, money line, -120 over the Cardinals. And to me, this is just about the Cardinals being so banged up. Their injury report is a mash unit, whether it's Marvin Harrison Jr., left guard Evan Brown, linebacker Kazir White, defensive lineman Bilal Nichols, cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting, quarterback Star Thomas. I guess a couple of those guys will probably end up playing, but man, they all left the game last week, so this is not a healthy team. Also, when you look at the Cardinals defense, ranked 29th overall, just ahead of the Cowboys, Jags, and Panthers. Whew. Meanwhile, the Chargers have the top overall ranked defense in the National Football League, so I think they run the ball on the ground with J.K. Dobbins, they chew up time, and they take advantage of a really wounded Arizona defense. Short price, Chargers on the money line, -120. Okay, you know what time it is. Every day on this show, if you're just now tuning in, there is an inflatable donkey. We call him the Chalk Donkey because his bets usually are pretty chalky. But over time, his name has evolved into the Donkster. He's my son, and I never know what he's going to say. Donkster! Oh, there you are. I see you were supporting Navy once again. What's going on?
Navy is undefeated this season, and so am I as the ranking admiral of this show.
Well, Donkster,
I'm not done. Dykstra, the next time I see you with a football helmet on that sinking ship of yours, you better be wearing it without a face mask. Messenger, I want some chicken pot pie soup on my desk by 1300 hours. Dad, if you don't support me after years of service to this country, you can go straight to hell.
That is, wow, that is aggressive. All right, please give us a play.
I'll give you a play when I'm damn sure ready.
Oh.
Okay, are you ready?
I am. Justin Herbert, under 12.5 yard rushing, it's minus 115. Go Navy.
Well, that was surprising. What's coming up next on BetQL Daily?
A little back talk there.
A little
You need to
back talk.
smack him around.
My
Come
God,
on, Dad.
the attitude.
We
And
can
I let him
turn back-
do
I
it.
wasn't ready for that.
Getting away
I'm
with
gonna lay
it
down the
over here.
law.
Yeah.
Rounded.
Good morning, Joe. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
What's going on?
Oh, not too much. Just preparing for the show. Of course, reacting to a full weekend of football. Jason Lockenfora, 10 o'clock Eastern on the show. World Series set. We'll take a look at the market moves. So your usual Monday stuff going on.
Yeah. Can you say something nice to Jenks? He's down in the dumps for Texas.
Yeah,
I know.
we got
I wanted.
crushed.
I didn't even want to reference the water bottles.
It's all
I know.
right.
I just look at you and I
Terrible.
see that you probably threw a bottle at your house during that.
I did. I broke my TV. I was like, I feel you, students. Yeah. I mean, Texas got fined $250,000, which they should have. You can't do that during a game. You just can't.
That's a lot. There's a lot that goes on in the student section in those games. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah, they did have to stop the game, but I think they should have fined the referees. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're
those guys.
responding to that, yeah. But
Yeah, it wasn't a great look. I mean, I enjoyed the reversal of the call as a bad call, but you can't really do that. You know, you can't. Kind of against the rules there. So
Sure.
I understand. All right, Joe. Appreciate it, buddy. Glad no one from the military is barking orders at you guys during the show. That's not fun. Not going to do it. For this edition of the Daily Tip from BetQL, presented by BetMGM, she is Chelsea Messenger. I'm Michael Jenkins. Hope we helped you get your week off to a good start. Thanks for being with us. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
You've been listening to The Daily Tip, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today. If you missed any of the show, listen back anytime on the new and improved Odyssey app.
It's a playoff game. We've seen this movie before, and we know how it ends, and it ends with absolute disaster. But I'll tell you, that's fun. But the most fun thing about betting on sports for me is this. Like, hey, there's no tomorrow. And now, come on, put pick it in.
Are you ready, sir? Start your engines. Let's go.
Astros money line versus the Marlins. Johnny Cueto, no thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. How does this affect me personally?
Which is absolutely bonkers to me.
If you do the middle school math, is 117 yards per game that you gotta post each and every weekend.
I knew it.
Who has the upper hand? Do we think it's going to be the offenses, or do we think it's going to be the defenses?
How about Saturday's game? Let's just throw a random game out here.
Like, I don't want to put faith in NC State. There's a chance we'll lose outright. Who knows? Jinx is definitely not paying attention right now. He's just vibing to the music.
Are you ready for the most interactive sports gambling show? Introducing BetQL's Send It In with PJ Glasser. We want to hear from you. Send It In is about your picks, your trends, and your fades. Share your thoughts, predictions, and your best daily best bets with the Send It In community. Set your reminders, mark your calendars, and get ready to send it in on weekday afternoons at 1 Eastern on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Some would say that maybe he'll be chasing Super Bowl MVP. Really makes me angry that, like, Knicks fans can't have anything. We've been bad for... I get it. Now it's, okay, 100% of attention on 9 million games tonight. It's a playoff game. We've seen this movie before, and we know how it ends, and it ends with absolute disaster. But I'll...
Happy Monday. Welcome to Send It In, presented by BetMGM here on the BetQL Network. Great show for you guys today. We got 2 Monday Night Football games, Ravens-Bucks, which should be a really good game. We also got the Cardinals and the Chargers. We'll give out plenty of plays for both of those games. Our World Series is set with the Yankees and the Dodgers. Johnny Venezia is standing by, get his thoughts on who he likes in the Fall Classic between the Yanks and LA. Also got to get into some of our early bets that we like for the upcoming week. We loved Georgia last Monday plus the points. That was an easy winner. Got some more college bets that we like. Also a look ahead to week 8 in the NFL as well. Kate Constable going to join us later on in the show for Model Making Money. Then we wrap everything up with our favorite plays for the day. As always, any questions, comments, best bets, thoughts that you guys have for us, let us know. You can go to twitch.tv/BetQL or YouTube/Odyssey Sports. And if you miss any part of the show, over the next 30 minutes, we got you covered with the Send It In podcast, available wherever you get your podcast. Glasses in session. Let's get this going on a Monday. We go to the Glasser guest line. Johnny Venezia joins us. Give him a follow on X at @_JohnnyVTV, host of the Breaking Bet podcast. Johnny, going to talk a little World Series with you. But before we get to there, let's talk about the NFL games that we have tonight. Let's start with the Ravens and the Bucks. 2 teams that are playing really good football. Baltimore favored by 3.5 tonight. The total is 50. Anything you like side total and any props that you're looking at as well?
Paige, great to be back with you, my friend. Let's get right to it. You know how the Royal Mint is near and dear to my heart. That is like my child in the world of sports betting. It's not quite the Royal Mint spot, but something that I've noticed this year that I'm absolutely in love with is the favorites laying 3.5. Offhand, I think only one team that closed as a 3.5-point favorite has lost this year, and that was Miami Week 1 versus Jacksonville. Every other one has, I think, come home. This is a spot here, regardless of the 3.5, Baltimore has a big advantage. You look at Tampa Bay's defense, they've been getting gashed left and right. They let up almost 30 points last week to Spencer Rattler, let up 36 the week before to Kirk Cousins. Yes, Vita Vea is back. That is huge for them. Same with Antoine Winfield. But the truth is, I don't know where this Tampa Bay defense is going to be able to consistently stop Lamar and this offense that's grooving right now. They scored 28 28 points straight in their last 4 games. Derrick Henry is looking like the vintage king that we all know and love. So to tell you the truth, Paige, I think the Ravens and Bucks are going to have a shootout, but I just don't think Tampa Bay is going to be able to make enough stops. I feel like Baltimore gets this done by 6 or 7 points tonight.
All right, very good. So that's game 1. What about game 2 tonight with the Chargers and the Cardinals? We've seen some line movement on this game. Chargers were as big as 3-point favorites earlier on in the week. Now they're down to -1 at BetMGM. We got a total of 44 in this matchup as well. Who do you like between LA and Arizona?
I'll be honest with you. I was struggling with this one. You know how I feel about the Arizona Cardinals. I believe they're the highest variance team in the NFL. One week they can show up and look like the best team in the NFL. The next week they can look like the worst. So against a Chargers team coming off a bye, it's definitely difficult to decipher. So that's why I'm going with a little prop. J.K. Dobbins, 80 rushing yards, over 79.5. Actually, he's hit this number in half of his games and rested. No Gus Edwards. I think we're going to see at least 20 carries from Dobby tonight against an Arizona defense that can be had. You've seen Brian Robinson run wild on them. You've seen David Montgomery go off. So there's definitely an opportunity to move this ball on Arizona's defense in the run game. So give me J.K. Dobbins, 80-plus rush yards.
All right, so those games will wrap up week 7 in the NFL. Johnny, looking ahead to week 8, no team is on bye next week, so we get a full 16-team slate. Everybody will be in action. Looking at the card early on in the week, anything jump out at you?
So I would like to say I'm definitely looking to fade the Dallas Cowboys. However, they're currently in a Royal Mint spot, so I would like to see where that line closes throughout the week. But to be honest with you, I don't like Dallas anymore. I just don't think they're even bettable whatsoever. So I'm going to be looking for the Niners to bounce back, assuming this gets out of that 5.5 spot. But otherwise, I really do think Cincinnati is on the upswing here. I feel like the Bengals are in a position now after a slow start where they can get on a heater and kind of have everybody that forgot about them, make them believe once again. They have an opportunity to basically win out the rest of the way. If not win out, win almost every single one of their games and have a shot to win this AFC North or definitely clinch a playoff spot. So I'm looking for the Bengals at home, small dog against the Eagles to take care of business.
All right, very good. Johnny, before we get to the World Series, you wanted to talk a little NFL MVP, which I think is a really interesting market, considering, yes, the Chiefs are undefeated, and it's Patrick Mahomes. He has more interceptions than he does touchdowns this season. Josh Allen's been playing great football. Lamar, Jaden Daniels, even though he got banged up yesterday. When you look at the NFL MVP market, anything that you like currently?
Yeah, so I'm sitting on the I'm sitting on 111-1 ticket on Jaden Daniels MVP. So, it sucks that he got hurt yesterday and missed a lot of stat padding opportunities, but I still think he's firmly in the mix, even though he missed most of yesterday's contest. I will say, before the week started, looking at the Cincinnati Bengals schedule, Joe Burrow being 22-1 in the MVP market was way, way too big. So I felt taking Burrow right as the Bengals, which I think are about to go on a run, is incredibly opportunistic. There's a 17-1 right now in the open market, so that's probably where I would be looking right now. I'm not interested in laying the 5-1, 6.5, whatever it is. I think there's so much left that can happen, and you have a guy like Burrow who has some of the best stats as a quarterback this year. And as long as the Bengals are competitive and, they're going to push for the division, that's ultimately the key. They have another game left against the Ravens. You never know with Baltimore if they, hit a little bit of a rough patch and Cincinnati takes game 2 from them. I think this is definitely something that could be in the mix. So 17-1 with Burrow is interesting. I don't like really anything else here, but I would be interested in taking a shot on Baker Mayfield. But that's something I would have to see what happens tonight in tonight's game.
All right, very interesting. Let's go to the World Series, Johnny. We got the Yankees and the Dodgers. It feels like for a decade people have predicted this matchup, and we finally get it, starting on Friday with Game 1. Dodgers are a small favorite to win, even though the Yankees do have home field advantage. Who do you like, L.A. or New York?
Yeah, I feel like for the last 10 years, all the MLB experts have been predicting this matchup. I mean, blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then, but unfortunately for our Padres, we have to see the Dodgers take on the Yankees, which would have been a layup for San Diego. But I think this is always going to be the NL coming home here. The New York Yankees had one of the easiest routes to the World Series you can possibly imagine. The only two teams that were somewhat competitive in the American League outside of the Yankees were Houston and Baltimore. I know we both like Baltimore preseason. They decided to completely unravel and not hit. You have the Astros who did the same thing, and it was pretty much an AL Central versus the Yankees to get to the World Series. Even though they've come up with some clutch hittings, they've really had to go in some dogfights against teams that they're way better than. Whereas the Dodgers had to take on the Padres and the Mets to get here. I just don't know how the Dodgers don't win it this time around. You get Ohtani. It's minus 130, minus 128. So I'm definitely taking the Dodgers here in 6. And I think Ohtani wins MVP. I mean, I don't think the MLB is going to allow